Okay, welcome back to Man Cave Meals for round 3 of our testing of the Char-Griller Kamado. Today we are going to do a low and slow cook on a Boston butt. I've got my lump arranged around in here. I've got a Weber charcoal starter cube down here, so we're going to light it up. And then we're going to kind of rearrange the charcoals a little bit on top of that. And I've got a few hickory chunks dispersed in here, so we're going to let that light up. We're going to put my add-on diffuser rack on there. And today we're going to use my pizza stone as a diffuser. We're going to set it right in the middle. And we're going to put the thermometer in here and let this guy warm up. We're going to shoot for around somewhere between 250 and 275 today. Okay, after a quick thinking about it, I decided I would wrap my pizza stone in foil to help cleanup process on that. So I've got my thermometer probe laying in there. It's coming up slowly. I don't have my vents all the way open. I've got the top vent on about 2 and the bottom vent open to about there. I don't want it to come up too quickly because these, like most cookers, are harder to cool down than they are to warm up. So I'm going to try to not let it overshoot the temperature. Okay, our oven's about up to temp, so I've been letting it come up kind of slowly. I got the vents kind of tight. Got that one almost closed off completely. So we are going to put the butt on and then work on stabilizing the temperature where we want it. Got to put some gloves on here right quick. So we'll open up, pull our probe out, and set this butt down in here. I can put the grill on first. Getting ahead of myself. I don't want to set that right on the diffuser. Set this bad boy right here in the middle. And then we're going to put our probe right down in the middle of the meat. Just like that. Close it back up. And then we'll let the temperature come back up where we need it. See, I've got the top one is the oven temp part of the probe, and the bottom one is the meat temp. So we'll let the temp come back up and shoot at it from there. Okay, we're about 30 minutes in since I put the butt on there. The temperatures are starting to stabilize. The pit's up at 251, 252. It's still creeping just a little bit. I've got the bottom vent closed all the way to try to keep that in check. And with the top vent just barely cracked, it's set at about the 1 setting. The temp still comes up, still coming up just a little bit, so I'm gonna have to keep my eye on that. It's apparently getting enough air, even with the bottom vent closed, to keep the temperatures up. So we will keep working at it. And the thermometer on the dome is reading about 220 with the actual temperature being about 250. So they're a little closer today since I've got the diffuser in there. Okay, here we are an hour into the cook. The temperature's finally started to stabilize here. It had gotten up to 275 and it's dropped back down to 274 now, so it's probably going to settle in here. It's kind of, well, it just teetered back to 275. I've got the top vent just barely cracked. It's not open much at all, and the bottom vent is still, I've got it closed all the way, so we're just going to keep watching the temperature, see how it pans out. I'd kind of hoped I could dial this thing in right at 250 and keep it there, but it's maybe a little difficult, so we'll see how it goes. We'll leave the vents right where they are for the next hour or so and watch the temperature. Okay folks, here we are 2 hours into this cook, right at the 2 hour mark. My dome thermometer here reads right about 250, and actual temp in the pit is 276. I haven't touched the vents at all since the 1 hour mark, since we looked at it last, and the temperature seems to have stabilized pretty well here around 275, which is right at the upper end of where I wanted to be on this cook. I still have the top vents, you know, just barely cracked, and the bottom vent is still closed all the way, so it is getting some air through that point. But I think we're good to go here at this point. 275, 276 is good. I looked at it at about 30 minutes ago, and the temperature was actually at 270, so it's hanging right in there. We're not gonna adjust any air just yet, and see where she goes from here. We're looking at about a 25-degree difference in the dome versus the actual temperature. You know, we talked about this yesterday. I was showing that it was very hot compared to the dome temp, but with the diffuser in there, it's brought these two temperature gauges, the digital and the analog here, back into alignment. You know, the manual, as we talked about earlier, said could look for a 10% difference, and we're looking right at about that there, with a 25-degree difference at, you know, 250 to 275. So that comment I made yesterday in the initial burn review about that thermometer being worthless is not actually the case. We're giving a little bit better shake here, but still, you just want to use this for reference. It's not something I would want to use for any accuracy. I always like to depend on my Maverick Digitals or my Barbecue Guru for accurate temperatures. So we're at the 2 hour mark. We're going to check back here again at about the 4 hour mark and see where we stand. Okay, here we are. We're at the 4 hour mark. Everything's going smoothly. Temperature stabilized nicely. The pit temperature's been hovering between 260, 270. It kind of fluctuates just a little here and there. It's been a little breezy today, so that may be having some impact on it. Our Boston Butt's up to 168 internal. I haven't really hit a stall yet. I'm not sure if we're probably just not quite there yet. It's about time for it to slow down on the internal cook. So like I said, we're at 4 hours. Everything's going smoothly. Haven't had any issues. The temperature has stabilized at the upper end, like I said, of where I wanted it to be, and this is probably due to some of my inexperience with lump charcoal, and obviously this is a first cook on this cooker, so we're still learning as we go. I think everything's going to work out really well here. I still have that one just cracked open, and our bottom vent's still closed. We haven't touched the vents since the 1 hour mark, and everything's staying right where it should. So we're 4 hours in. I'll probably come back and look at it again in 2 or 3 more hours. Okay, we are at the 6 hour 40-minute mark, and we're still cooking right along. Our pit temperature is 262 degrees, and The food temp is at 188, so it's still got a little while to go. We're going to go to 195 or so before we start checking the meat to see if it's actually ready. Maybe 197. So it's got a little bit longer to go. I just wanted to do a quick update here. We're still maintaining temperature just fine. That says 262. Our dome is reading about 220, so you can see that we still have about a 40-degree variation there. And I haven't touched the vents. We're just leaving the vents right where they are. The top one's only barely cracked open, just under the 1 setting, and the bottom vent's still completely closed. So we'll be back later. Okay, here we are. We're ready to wrap up this cook. Our pit's at 262. Our butt's at 195 degrees internal. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to take it off and wrap it in aluminum foil and take it inside and rest it in our cooler for an hour or two before we pull it. And one of the last things I'll do before I wrap this video up is I'll show you what that meat looks like after we take it off, or after we cut into it actually. But one of the other things I haven't mentioned is we have not opened this cooker at all since we started the cook. Since we put the meat on there, the lid has not been opened, and that's kind of important if you're trying to maintain a low temperature, which we've done here. So let's go ahead and crack this guy open and see what we look like. There we have it. Our 7-pounder looking real good. So what we're going to do first here is we're going to pull the probe off. Check it for probe tenderness. It's very, very tender. Oh yeah, that guy's definitely ready to come off. So I'm going to take it off, wrap it up, take it inside, and we'll look at it again when we cut it open. Okay folks, we've rested this butt for about an hour and 45 minutes or so. We're ready to pull it open and have a look inside. This is kind of hard to do one-handed, so it's still steamy hot. Let me grab a fork here and let's pull it open. It's looking pretty good. So there we have it. Looking really nice. Let's have a taste of it and see what we've got going on there. It's a big taste, but we're gonna try. It's got a nice smoke ring there. You can see that right on that edge. That's delicious. That is absolutely amazing. Okay, well that's going to wrap this up. I'm going to call low and slow on the Char-Griller Kamado successful. So maybe at some point in the future I'll make some videos of some high heat cooks like a pizza or something, so stay tuned. And I'm going to have to say I think that was a worthwhile purchase.